had a really cool thing happen to me the other day.
Yeah.
I do annual reviews with clients, and it's like, so I posted something on Instagram that was like, what is my purpose in business? And it's to create an impact with people.
Love it.
To like I said, to love on people throughout the transaction, and hopefully I created an impact as a human.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known as like Ryan the lender. It's like Ryan Pettigrew, who's a
Right.
friend of mine that's a lender, right? And so I think all of that is a big thing for me, and it was really cool. I've got a fun client that has always been really appreciative, but it made me realize there's a reason why I do what I do. And it was just a really simple statement. I called him for an annual review. It's like, "What's up, Scott? How's it going?" He's like, "Oh man, it's been a lot of work. Got a new roof. It's been fun. But Ryan, I want to tell you, life has been so much better. And I love this opportunity rather than renting." And like that right there is just
amazing.
it. I was like,
Yes.
dude, you're going to make me like tear up.
Right. 100%.
You know? And so I think that was super cool. So like, have you had any of those moments in your careers thus far that you can say have been that impactful?
There is. Yeah. I have a really good friend who, it's interesting once people, it's the mind shift difference, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of have to flip how you think about something. But
yeah,
I mean, rent, I love that story. So rent is easy, right? It's like I can rent, but they don't really think like long term about it. So I love the story.
Yeah.
I've had one time when I was, actually a couple of years ago, I have a good friend of mine. I've actually had a couple of people I've done this with, but they were getting ready to move out of their primary house. And I said, "Hey, have you thought about renting? Have you just, considered, maybe you're trying to rent that out if that's even an option?" And they really hadn't before, but they'd known we've done it on a couple of our houses ourselves.
Sure.
And so I got to talk through that with them. And it was really cool. I've one couple that I worked with, and asked me lots of questions. This was probably over 6 months, that we were going through all this, figuring it out, the details and how this was going to work, why we would do it, all this stuff. And finally, when they'd moved out of their house, they bought another house, they got that house rented out, and he started getting the rent checks.
Yeah.
It's not just about the money, but it's about what that's going to do for him long term. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be." And then he was like, "Why don't more people do this?"
Yeah.
And it was just this cool moment of like, not only am I educating people about it and they get excited about it, but then once they actually do it, it's exactly what you just talked about, right? It's like on the back end of it. And now he's got a great rental property with a really good mortgage interest rate on it that's going to be able to rent for a long time. And he's set up. And,
so cool.
And not only is he set up, but his kids are set up and his family in the long term. So it's a perfect example. When you get to see that come full circle, it's nothing better.
No, and I think the best part about when you go through a situation like that, it almost reinvigorates you, and it's able to really, like, I don't like to use the word sell, but it really allows you to advise clients confidently. It allows you to advise clients with a lot of conviction. Right. Like you feel, and I feel like people, obviously, like, if we're talking conviction here, we're talking about Jesus, right? People follow people who have conviction, right? And so when you have conviction in your life and the way you feel about something, sometimes that's just because you've seen it happen.
Yes.
Right? And so when a lot of the times we get in this business and we're like, we know the impact it could make, but I haven't had any clients who've gone that route yet. I just want you to do it because I know it makes a difference. Then you start to go through that process and you can see more and more and more like the happiness that comes from creating wealth through real estate, having a home, creating the families, right? I think I'm talking through this. I think that's one of the things that a lot of clients, you have to somehow paint that picture for them on the front end about, the aspect of owning a home that is much more than the interest rate.
That's right.
How are you going to feel when you have a place of your own?
Yes.
And that's invigorating.
It's not just about buying a home, right? It's about, what does that home do for you?
Right.
And what does that investment do for you in the long term?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we buy anything, right? Like if I'm going on Amazon, I'm a big efficiency guy.
Right. Totally.
So, like if I can find something that's going to make my life more efficient, you like to cook.
I do. I love to cook.
But I don't like chopping vegetables.
Really?
So what did I do? Did
you get a vegetable chopper?
I got a vegetable chopper, so I can chop an onion in like 20 seconds, and it's amazing. But I'm buying that product not because I want the product. I want what that product's going to do for me.
Yeah, it's
right.
True.
It's really what this comes down to. That's the perspective I think you got to have.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I love that, and I'll be really real. Like for a while when I first got started in this industry, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, "Yeah, you should buy a house," and I believed it, but didn't have that confidence, right? That like I know that this is the right thing to do, and I've experienced it, and so having that now and going full in with that conviction that I know this is a good thing for you to do. It's not like I don't know anything about the stock market, right? I could say, you could probably invest in stocks, but I couldn't advise somebody well on that.
Yeah.
But I've put in enough reps, put in enough years of this business, right? At this point, I am very confident in it,
absolutely.
and I think having that confidence and knowing that we're not getting anybody into a bad deal, right? We're not getting anybody into a situation where it's going to be worse for them. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think that's at the end of the day, when you know you're truly helping somebody, however they react, that's their fault at the end of the day, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
And I say
100%.
it's their fault, meaning it's just, you can't control how somebody reacts, but at the end of the day, we just know we're doing really good stuff.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And we're here.
Yeah.
When you are ready, if it's not for you now, or if you didn't like it, or maybe
later,
somebody comes up and goes, man, I should have listened to you 5 years ago
Totally.
or something like that. No problem. It's fine. We all have to work on our own timeline.
Yep.
We all get there at different times. And, sometimes you just have to hear it a different way. Right.
Yep.
And it's like when you hear the same song over and over, but then there's one time in your car, and depending on your life circumstances, now it impacts you in a different way.
Exactly. Like the lens you're looking through, you see that song in a whole different light.
Right.
Before you're just singing it, now you're like, wow, that really resonates with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the same with everything.
For sure.
So
yeah, no, that's awesome. So we're talking about doing things that make us feel good at the end of the day. That's why we work. I know you have a lot of purpose outside of work. You're an amazing dad. You're a family man. You guys do these amazing mission trips. You just got back from Africa.
Yes.
And boy, what a trip was that. I want to know more. I want to hear that side of it. Give the people an inside look on that side of Brian Cowdery.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
So I actually love going on missions trips. It's been one of the things that I've done several times. So
Where all have you been? Yeah.
Been to Haiti, been to India, so when I was in high school, we went to a missions trip to, where was it? South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently they need help down there.
I mean, everybody needs a little bit of help.
Right. We also went to New York at one point, and then we also went up in Canada.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. But anyway.
Hey.
And so been to all those places, but then Africa recently in Kenya.
Yeah.
First went on a trip there with my wife in 2018, and then in 2019, took myself and my oldest son. And then this last summer, a couple months ago, we went and I took my oldest two kids, so oldest son, daughter, and then my third child, my other son. We went to Kenya. So
awesome.
Yeah. So none of it went as expected, though. Not even close. So we actually.
What's the old saying? You make plans and God laughs at you.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. You make plans, but that's actually what I love about missions trips, honestly.
Totally.
So for me, it's always been, you just go without expectation.
Yeah.
And you can't have expectation going into it, because literally anything can happen, especially when you're going to the other side of the world.
Yep.
So turns out the first day, we're actually right here in Denver. We get to the airport, our flight's delayed 6 hours.
Of course.
Yeah. And of course we have a connecting flight that, only had an hour margin in there. So
rookie move.
Exactly. We've learned from that. So we're there, we're sitting in the airport, and they go, oh, well, we can't get you out of here until June 11th. This was June 4th that we were at the airport. And we're like, there's 15 of us at there. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we get it figured out. They actually split our team, put us on 2 different airlines, and we make our connection in London. Go to London. We went from London to Nairobi. We landed in Nairobi. And we're at the baggage carousel, and none of our check bags come out. Not a single one. And, there's quite a bit of stuff in there. We actually bring a lot of stuff for the mission,
right, exactly.
Which that was more of our concern.
Right.
Because that's one of the main ways we get. This is really deep into the bush in Kenya, where it's very, very remote.
Yeah.
But then, of course, all of our clothes and all of our comforts and niceties and all that kind of stuff were in there, too. And so... but we had to keep going. Our next flight was that evening to go to another smaller town in Kenya, and so we had to work with it, And so we went there. We left without our bags. Fortunately, we all had an extra set of clothes, which was nice,
That's good.
And all of our toiletries and our essential medicines and things like that.
Sure.
So in the end, once we got all the way there into the bush, we actually had everything we needed.
So there's lesson number 1. You don't need much in life.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think another really good lesson, and I've been talking to a couple other people who are kind of coaches and mentors in my life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the same theme has come up the last couple of weeks, where they say, for me, and I don't know about you, I get nervous a lot of times that I have to I have to take a couple more classes, or I have to get educated a little bit more, or I have to have these things in place, and then I can be successful, or then I can do this, or then I can talk to clients about this. And the reality is I have everything I need right now.
Yeah, that's a great point.
In life. I have the personality I need that I've been given, the skills, the gifts that I have. That's
powerful.
The computer. I mean, even the small things, right? Like I have a piece of paper, I have pencils, I have access to all the tools I need, and I have the knowledge and my experience. I have what I need now, and I don't have to wait till someday. I can do it today.
Absolutely. It's so good. I mean, I think that just ties into like, if you can fully be yourself.
Yeah, right.
And authentic. I mean, this is kind of going down a little bit of side road, but if you can be yourself and be authentic, like you said, that's all you need, and then everything else is just a sidebar to a little bit extra growth or a little bit, more experience, right? But all of that comes from living in alignment with your purpose and who you are and what you're doing, and making sure all of that is coming into one, right?
100%. Yeah. And one thing I think that's really interesting about that too is that it's fear that keeps you from doing that, right? It's that fear of like, hey, I'm not equipped enough, or I don't know enough. But the reality is, like, I know myself, and you're like this too. We can figure it out.
Yep, for sure.
We can go forward. We can get it done. So it's the fear of failure that usually is not really there, right?
Right, exactly.
And
or the fear of caring about what somebody else, how they perceive
about
you, right?
you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that can hold so many people back.
Totally.
It's held me back.
It holds most people back.
Right.
Like, that's the thing is, like, I think the successful and the top 1% compared to the not, that's the difference.
It's absolutely
right.
Yep. It's and getting past the point of just preparing and planning and all that stuff, and just going for it and executing and just doing.
Exactly.
You're a great example of this, by the way.
Well,
when you put out your videos, you and I have talked about this a lot. This was very, very uncomfortable for me, and I'm getting a little better.
You're
maybe
getting
at
a
it.
lot better. You just stepped in here. We just started going, right? But at first, it was definitely like.
Yes.
I remember. Yeah. I mean,
it took us 15 tries probably to like get going on our
absolutely.
first one we did of these. But it's just, we are who we are. We have to move forward with what we have, you know, and I think, and in that, getting uncomfortable, that's where you grow, you know. Comfortability is the enemy of growth, and I think that's something that I've taught a lot of people, and then I have to take my own advice now doing this. You just put yourself out there, because it's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, back to Africa. So
back to Africa.
It's good nice little tangent. Nice little tangent on the lesson there. So you guys got to the bush.
Got to the bush.
You got a day's worth of clothes. And
yes.
Yeah.
So we got a day's worth of clothes, and it was really interesting. Just these little things, like we were like, hey, does anybody have this? And somebody had it, like shampoo, right?
Yeah, right.
For example, something easy like that. Or, hey, my daughter ended up getting an infection towards the end of the trip on her foot. No idea how, but all of a sudden her foot just ballooned up with swelling, and I was like, well, I had some antibiotics that I had brought, but it wasn't the right kind that we needed. And so literally a couple other people had some different kinds of antibiotics, and that's exactly what she needed, and we didn't have to go to I don't know where we would have gone, to be honest.
I was gonna say, did the bush people have a little like
they have a little medical facility
natural
there.
medicine for
yeah, exactly. Rub some cactus over it or something.
Exactly. Wrap it up, rub some ointment.
So it was just really a cool thing that happened, that every time we needed something, I was like, hey, does anybody have this? And we just had it. And so it was really cool that we didn't have more than we needed, but we had exactly what we needed. And that was really neat. There's an unfortunate thing that happened before we left. One of the missionaries had his home broken into, some money stolen, and the guys who did that actually ended up killing him the day before we left on the trip. So he was kind of a core community member.
Wow.
Everybody loved him. He was one of the first missionaries that was part of the organization.
Wow.
And just a huge loss for everybody.
Yeah.
And so he was also the guy who did all the logistics for us and planned everything and made sure all of our reservations were set. So that just kind of upset things too. But it's just another reminder that like we're not really in control of anything.
Yeah.
We think we have all these plans and can control this stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, we're never guaranteed another day in our life,
That's
you
true.
know? And so we got to make the most out of what we have and be faithful where we're at.
Right.
And so that was a really, while that was very, very sad, the fortunate timing of that is because we were going out there, when any American goes out there, our group or any other groups, it's a huge blessing to the locals and to the local missionaries and the organization that are there. And I mean, we're not celebrities, we're nothing special here, in America. But when you go there, it's like, wow, this is like, you actually care, and we're not forgotten about out here.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we had a team already set up to go out there to see, to be there at the same time was really important to them. All the missionaries, we got to go to the funeral for him, but we got to support them and help them in their time of grief and work through that and help them know that they're not alone. That this just didn't happen and they're forgotten about. And so that was a really cool piece of the trip too. That was a little scary going out.
You get goosebumps.
I know, right?
It's like divine intervention a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So still very sad. It was really hard, but just really, really special to be able to be there with them. And just our presence, right? Just hugging people. And I think that's something that I've really learned. Just, you don't have to have all the right words to say. You don't have to have everything just worked out perfectly. You just need someone to show that you care.
Yeah, a lot of times you just need to be there.
You just need to be.
You just need to be and just, and
listen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's sometimes the best form of support you can bring.
Right.
Just be a great listener.
Just be there and listen. Yeah, absolutely. And just
Yeah.
say, I get it. I know this is hard. This sucks.
Yeah.
And so what was really cool on the back end of that is they had just started a missionary school. So they had about 20 students that were started in January. And so this hole that was left from this one missionary, now they have all these really incredible students that are being built up that can now step into the different roles that he had.
Yeah.
And you can just see that all of a sudden things are going to grow from this.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of this really cool moment. I talked to one of them in particular. He's actually a junior in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. He's our translator. I couldn't translate anything to save my life.
Uno, dos, tres,
right.
cuatro.
Yeah, exactly. But he was like, the missionary his name was Mika, that passed away and was killed. And the guy I was talking to was like, I had all these plans to work with him and all these things we were going to do. And I said, maybe this is your opportunity to still do those things.
Yeah.
And maybe this is your opportunity that now you're going to have something else happen here that you not aware of, that maybe not have happened otherwise.
Yeah.
And you can step into that. You're going to grow into that. And for him, he was very sad, just very somber, but you could see this little bit of like this little bit of hope that came out of it.
Yeah. I mean, life's all about a little bit of hope.
100%.
That's it. If you can hang on to that bit of hope. And you guys weren't expecting any of this.
None of it.
Right? You guys were just expecting to go on a mission trip and
do some construction, do some
right, exactly. You're supposed to help, and what an amazing, obviously very sad, but also very big. I guess it's the word I want to put to it is perspective, to have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it allows you to come back like,
right.
Okay. Don't have it too bad out here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. Every time I've come back, I'm like, all right, I have running water. I'm good.
For sure. Right. Like, okay. And
I have air conditioning and heat. I'm good.
There's that perspective of life that you need to gain.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah. I love it.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're able to share that with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I've been very curious. I mean, I haven't seen the nitty gritty. We're good friends. And I'm like, I want to know more about this.
I know. I need to put more out there with the pictures and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. I'll do that. Yeah. So, all right. So let's talk about you.
Me.
For a little bit. Yeah. This summer.
Yeah.
You just got back from a
golf tournament. It definitely wasn't as crazy as Africa, for sure. Yeah, no, it's fun.
You didn't lose your golf bag or anything like that?
I didn't lose my golf bag. Yeah, no, everything was in the state of Colorado, so I had running water and stuff. But it's funny. I just had a friend, I haven't played competitive golf in a really long time, and I had a friend reach out and say, you should go do this. Your golf game's really good. I was like, okay, sure, why not? I'm like, why am I signing up for this?
I love it.
Why am I signing up for this? And I really didn't understand. I'm playing good golf. That's why I'm signing up for this. And I qualified.
So it's kind of a way for you to force yourself to do something
force
outside
myself
your
to do
comfort
something.
zone.
And I think I was I've been very, as we all know, the market for real estate and mortgage is tough right now. So it's how can we throw a spark in my life? And so I went out and I qualified for this golf tournament. And it was one of the more proud rounds of golf I've ever played.
Nice,
for those
man.
that play golf.
That's amazing.
It was just grinding, not having my swing, just grinding really well.
In the zone.
In the zone, but also completely out of it all at the same time. My wife was just kind of looking at me like, what? I don't know what's up with your golf game, but you're like, good bogey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and so I think one of the things that I've taken away from doing the golf tournament stuff and challenging yourself in a way that you haven't in a long time is two things. It's double down on something you love, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And like for me, I think I love a handful of things, my family being, up there for sure. But outside of like, my family, the things I love are cooking and golf.
Yeah.
And I've created a new love for like being out in nature too. That's
Nice.
always fun. But double down on something you love and challenge yourself. Because even though I qualified for the tournament, I didn't play great in the tournament, so that was a little bit of a bummer, but I took a lot away from it. And so I think when you're challenging yourself, you are opening yourself up for wins and losses, and you can learn a lot in both.
Yes.
And you can put that into the remainder of your life. So I'm able to come back. I have different perspectives on things as a father and a businessman, and so it was really cool. I mean, it's really cool to go do those things and then feel reinvigorated in other ways of your life.
100%.
Right.
Yeah,
and so
good.
I'm going to try and qualify for another one on Monday. We'll see how that
You
goes.
are? Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
So that'll be fun.
So that's a new regular thing.
Yeah, a little bit. There's
yeah.
a couple this summer, so that'll be my second, my
That's
last
good.
final one. But I mean, it's just fun to go out and to challenge yourself in a way that might be different or maybe a little scary or whatever, may have you. Because I think you learn a lot of.
What were your biggest
yourself.
fears of going into this one?
That I'd get last place and I shouldn't be out there.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And what'd you get?
I got second in the qualifier, and I got like middle of the pack in the actual tournament. But it was a lot of college golfers, the kids that play competitively all the time.
Sure.
So, I mean, like I said, I haven't done that in 10 years.
Right.
This has turned into like have a couple beers and hang out with your buddies type golf for me. So to get back into that's been different.
I love it.
So that was my biggest fear. It's just what will come out of it, and so I think that's the best part is like when you're fearful of something, almost double down on it.
Yeah, I really love that.
Double down on your
When
fears,
you
get
went in,
uncomfortable.
were you afraid of judgment from other golfers, or was there any
Yeah,
that kind of a stigma
for sure.
too?
I mean, I think the judgment of like, oh wow, what if I place badly? That would stink. I'm telling everybody about this, and then all of a sudden, like,
they're gonna have all those conversations on the back
Oh
end.
my gosh, just not making the
How'd it
cut
go?
and telling everybody I didn't make the cut the other day was like that stunk enough. But I mean, but the flip side of that coin is when I did get second in the qualifier, it was really cool. It was fun to have those conversations and just I was proud.
Oh, 100%.
Do something that makes that allows you to be proud, and usually that's getting really uncomfortable at first.
Yeah. I think it's a huge thing. It's just getting uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's great about, so how do you think now that you've done this, you've gone, the first one's always the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So now you're going to go into the next one. What are you going to do different?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll play a lot less like tight.
Okay.
A lot more. I'll have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. The
Less
first,
pressure.
yeah, right. I qualified for the tournament. The tournament itself was actually 4 days, 2 days, then a cut. And then the next 2 days, and I didn't make the cut. And the first day, I didn't play very good.
Yeah.
I shot way worse than I normally do, and I got in the cart after the 18th hole, and I just felt my body release.
Tension.
Like, what was that all about? Why am I
Yeah.
playing so tight? I'm usually not. I'm like free flowing, so like I wasn't myself, and so that's something I learned, right?
Yeah.
When you put yourself through tough situations, you learn a lot about how to respond to it the next time.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you have to go through that gate of uncomfortability, right? When you first get into it and unknown, the world of whatever's unknown, right? We freak ourselves out in our minds so many times, right? About what about this, or I don't know how this is supposed to work, and all that. You just, there's no way around it. You can't go above it, underneath it, around it. You literally have to go right in the middle of it.
Well, and that ties into successful people. There's a lot of people, especially with social media these days. It's like, man, they're successful. How nice would that be? They didn't see the path to get there. They didn't see the mud they had to truck through, and the losses, a lot of the losses, and the trials and the tribulations that people had to get to. They see the end result, and not the process to get there. And so I think that's another really good lesson to learn. Is like 99.99% of successful people have been through something or a lot of things that are really tough and challenging, and now they've started to figure out. Whether it's at when they're 25 or they're 55 or whatever in between, everybody's on their own path.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody's done it without a lot of hard work and a lot of trial and error. I think we talked about this last time a little bit, but one thing I've learned is I had somebody say, like, failure is the job. Taking shots and at-bats and striking out, that's the job. But if you do it enough times, then you're going to hit. You're going to connect with that ball, And I think that's something that for me was really kind of freeing to know, okay, I don't have to nail it every single time.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to place, you don't have to, win every single tournament And why would you win it the first time? You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
There's no way. Of course you're not going to win.
Right.
So then you go in and go, look, I just know I'm not going to win.
Right.
You know, you still
then,
try.
And then who knows? Maybe you do because you've got lower expectations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have that more relaxed,
Yeah.
not as much tension.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I did something
Okay.
a couple weeks ago.
What'd you do? Did you get a tattoo?
No, but I did put myself way out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Nobody knows about this. I haven't told anybody. Only my family knows.
Oh my goodness.
All right,
What,
so-
did you go skydiving?
No.
Okay.
Worse.
Worse?
I signed up for improv class.
No way.
Yes.
Why does that surprise me and not surprise me all at the same time?
I don't know. I am not ever been an actor, never wanted to be an actor. I don't like being on stage and performing or
This fits
anything
you
like that.
so well.
But I do like speaking in front of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
and
do.
I like
You're
that.
good at it too.
Yeah. So I
You got
thought,
charisma.
but I don't love thinking on my feet. So
You don't like beady eyes looking at you?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll panic, and I go, I don't know what to say, or I'll jumble my words or something like that. And so I thought, you know what? Let's fix this. So I signed up for improv class. I'm in a 6-week improv class.
And how's that going?
2 weeks in.
Okay.
I love it. It's amazing. So I thought all these
A man
people...
of many talents right here. Yeah.
Well,
Soon
I'm
to be
working on
talents,
a
at
new
least.
talent.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, this
Good
was
for you.
this is
That's
off,
awesome.
off a suggestion of another agent out there.
How funny.
He's a pretty famous New York broker. But he's all
This
of
guy
his...
named that's guy names is with science or hand.
Right.
Science or hand.
Right, exactly. But all of his agents, he requires them to go to improv class.
No way.
Yep.
How funny. I'm sure it gets them really comfortable with like being in the moment
Yes.
and being in front of people kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And going with the flow and
Yeah.
not having to have. So, little insider secret is some of you probably know, but agents and mortgage brokers always talk about scripts, right? They always talk about, here's a script you use when this objection comes up or this comes up.
We're so calculated in
I don't
this
like
industry
it.
sometimes. Me too, because
Yeah,
then you're just feeling like a robot.
Yes,
right?
I feel like the personal side, I want to know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to be a robot, like you said, and just spout something off to you just because you said a certain thing.
Yeah, but the
We're
best
not
script is knowledge, right?
Exactly.
Right. Just be educated
Right.
and that'll come out freely. Anyways.
100%. So instead of scripts,
Yeah.
how about a playbook?
Yeah.
How about like scenarios and how we handle things and figure out, because the truth is no script applies to every person in every situation, in every client, every deal. It's
True.
It's always
if you
different.
respond back
right?
like a robot, it's
Yeah.
gonna come over like that.
Exactly.
I used to be in that model.
Yes.
And you could hear people's like responses like, that was canned.
Right. That doesn't feel too genuine.
Yeah, sorry, did you put on a recording there for 10 seconds?
Right. You're just hitting buttons all
Yeah,
day.
let me go ahead and I'm just gonna put on a recording of me to answer that question. really
Exactly.
quick.
Now with AI, now they're
Yeah,
going to just have
exactly.
autoresponders in
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah. But really, so the improv is, how do you get out of the script mindset, and how do you handle and work with and respond in a way that's genuine to the situation?
I'm sure that builds some huge, like massively new neural pathways for you.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
right? You feel like your brain
Exactly.
you're like after those 6 weeks, you're gonna feel like a different human being.
Oh, I have 2
Yeah.
weeks. I'm only 2 weeks in. I'm acting like I'm a professional. I'm 2 weeks in, but I'm already like looking at, I'm applying things to my conversations, not
Yeah.
only with clients, like my family,
Yeah.
people I just meet randomly in stores or wherever I'm out and about. And it's been really helpful, like really, really cool. And I thought, I'm going to go in there. Everyone's going to judge me. It's going to be intimidating.
Is everybody in the same boat?
Everybody's in the same boat. There's people way more nervous than I am, and I'm judging them a little bit.
This is
not
amazing.
a lot,
I
but
can't
a little
stop
bit.
smiling about this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So,
I want to do this.
You should come do it.
Oh
we
my
should
gosh.
do the next one
You're
together.
just pushing me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I love it.
But it's that same thing that I think, like if I think whenever you feel stuck in life, it's because you're too comfortable, right? A lot of times.
Can I just write that down?
Yes.
That is like one of the best quotes ever. If you're feeling stuck in life, it's because you're too comfortable.
Probably because you're too comfortable with
You're
something.
not challenging
Right.
yourself. And I felt that too. I felt that in a way of like, I feel like there's some sort of like glass ceiling or kind of a fog. You're just like coming in, doing your thing, right? And then you do something and you're like, oh, okay, that's what it feels like to be full of life again.
Yes.
Right? When you're doing things that you challenge yourself and like pumps
Right.
adrenaline through your blood, like that makes you feel
It's
like you're
amazing.
living life again.
100%.
Yeah.
And and by the way, the interesting thing about it is there's no high stakes in it, right? Like my improv class, honestly, you doing your tournament, what's the worst that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's not life or death.
It's not life or death.
No, but
exactly.
your body thinks so
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, exactly. And there's 100%.
Yeah.
But when you're stuck, and there's no judgment in that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, think like we all get there. We all get to
Sure.
places where we're like, and we don't think we realize it most of the times. There's a lot of times we're there and we're feeling, I don't know, sad or depressed or just down, about something. And then I think it's just so easy to get there and stay there without really realizing it. So you kind of have to use something, almost kick yourself out of it. And then you go, oh, man, I was like way off there. And now, like you said, feeling more alive, getting that adrenaline going. It's fun. It's fun to just do something a little bit different.
Jump out of a plane right now.
Yeah, all the introverts are like, no, we're not doing that. No. That's like, is there an online improv class?
I'll tell you one thing though. Like, even though you're an introvert, I feel like that could still be something that
I think so. There's actually a couple people in there that I could tell they're super introverted, but they're still doing it.
Totally.
And actually, they're really funny because
it makes it makes them feel proud, right?
Yeah. And they're gonna say a little bit less, but they're like a little more zing to what they say. Yeah, kind of a little dry humor that's like a little bit, gets put in there. Right. That adds to the people who are all over the place and super,
Those are the ones that are the funniest, I think, because they're the most unassuming.
Yes, 100%.
Like, who's this really quiet guy? And you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
That was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
So get out of your comfort zone. That's the theme for today.
I love it.
Story, I think.
Get out of your little comfort bubble and see what you can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And go grow.
Exactly. Thanks 100%. For pushing me.
Yep, absolutely, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.